A black cube, 6 faces, 12 edges, 8 corners, perfect stillness. At first it looks like simple geometry, but the deeper you look, the stranger it becomes, because this symbol appears wherever we ask the oldest questions. What is matter? What is time? Why are we trapped in bodies? And is this world a prison or a temple? That is the real mystery behind the Black Cube of Saturn. Not just whether it appears in temples, occult diagrams, secret societies, or monuments. The deeper question is, why does one shape feel like it contains the human condition? In sacred geometry, the cube is the 3-dimensional form of the square. The square has long been associated with foundation, earth, stability, structure, and the 4 directions. A circle suggests heaven, spirit, motion, and eternity, but a square suggests ground. It is where the infinite becomes measurable, where spirit accepts limitation and becomes form. In Plato's Timaeus, the cube is connected with the element of earth because it is the most stable of the classical solids. A sphere rolls, a cube rests, so the cube is the geometry of manifestation, reality becoming solid. The cube has 6 faces, which can symbolize the 6 directions of space: front, back, left, right, above, and below. But hidden inside those 6 directions is a 7th point, the center. From the outside, the cube looks like enclosure. From the inside, it becomes orientation. If consciousness is asleep, the cube feels like a prison. If consciousness awakens, the same cube becomes a temple. And this is where Saturn enters. In the ancient world, Saturn was the outermost visible planet. Saturn marked the edge of the known cosmos. It was the last gate, the final boundary, the slow watcher at the visible limit. Because Saturn moves slowly, ancient astrologers associated it with time, age, delay, discipline, endings, and consequence. Saturn was not the planet of quick blessings. It was the planet of the test. This is why Saturn is often misunderstood. In shallow explanations, Saturn is treated as simply evil, sinister, or even identical with Satan. But historically, that connection is not so simple. The deeper esoteric meaning is more precise. Saturn is limitation itself. The wall, the weight, the boundary, the law of form. So when the cube is joined with Saturn, the symbol becomes dense. The cube is structure. Saturn is limitation. Together, they represent matter under the rule of time. But why black? Black is not only a color of evil. In esoteric symbolism, black is the hidden, the unknown, the womb, the cave, the night before revelation. In alchemy, the first stage of the work is called nigredo, the blackening. It is dissolution, symbolic death, and the breaking apart of the old self. When I first understood this, Saturn stopped feeling like darkness alone. It started to feel like a question. What in me is still heavy? What in me still needs discipline? What part of my life am I calling a prison when it might actually be the place where my soul is being shaped? That is why the Black Cube of Saturn disturbs people. It reflects the part of existence we do not want to face: time, death, responsibility, matter, silence, and consequence. But here is the turning point. The cube can mean 2 opposite things. To the unconscious person, the cube is imprisonment. It is matter mistaken for the only reality. It is the body without spirit, labor without meaning, ritual without awakening, law without wisdom. It is the human being trapped in the 6 directions, never finding the center. So comment this below. When you see the Black Cube of Saturn, do you feel more the idea of a prison or a temple? Because the answer may reveal more about your relationship with matter than about Saturn itself. This distinction is essential in the perennial philosophy. Many traditions teach that the human being is a bridge between heaven and earth, spirit and body, eternity and time. In some Gnostic systems, the material World is an enclosure where the divine spark has forgotten its origin. But in Hermetic philosophy, the cosmos is not simply a mistake. It is an ordered expression of mind, proportion, and divine intelligence. If the world is only a prison, salvation means escape. But if the world is also a temple, awakening means learning how to see the sacred hidden inside form. In Hermetic Kabbalah, Saturn is often associated with Binah, the sphere of understanding on the tree of life. Binah is not merely restriction. It is the matrix of form. It receives force and gives it structure. Without Binah, there is no vessel, no birth, no comprehension. Limit is not the enemy of creation. Limit is what allows creation to appear. This is why the cube appears so naturally in initiatory symbolism. In Freemasonry, one central image is the transformation of the rough stone into the perfected stone. The human being begins as unshaped material, full of potential, but also irregularity. Through work, ethics, knowledge and inner refinement, the stone is squared. It becomes fit for the temple. And this is where many people get lost. They see a cube in a religion, a monument, a corporate logo, or a ritual object, and immediately say, Saturn. But symbolism requires discernment. Not every cube is Saturn. Not every black object is occult. Not every ancient shape is proof of a hidden global cult. But it would also be naive to say these patterns mean nothing. The Kaaba in Mecca, Jewish tefillin, the cubic symbolism of the Holy of Holies, and the New Jerusalem in Revelation all show how often cubic form appears around sacred space. These traditions are not the same thing, and they should not be flattened into one conspiracy. But they reveal the cube as one of humanity's great symbols for divine order inside the visible world. Now we arrive at one of the most fascinating modern connections: Saturn's hexagon. At Saturn's North Pole, spacecraft observations revealed a massive hexagonal storm pattern. It's a real astronomical phenomenon, not an occult invention, but symbolically it became explosive because a cube projected into two dimensions can appear as a hexagon. Draw a cube on paper, and what you are really drawing is a hexagonal structure with internal lines. Scientifically, the hexagon is an atmospheric pattern. Esoterically, it becomes an image, the planet of limitation marked by the sign of structured space. This does not prove a conspiracy. It reveals why the symbol is so compelling. The heavens themselves appear to speak in geometry. In Renaissance magic and older planetary traditions, Saturn also had numerical correspondences. Its magic square is the 3x3 square, where each row, column, and diagonal adds to 15, and the total is 45. To the magician, number was not abstract. Number was the skeleton of reality. Geometry, planet, metal, color, and ritual belonged to one web of correspondences. Cornelius Agrippa helped preserve many of these planetary correspondences. Later systems, including the Golden Dawn, drew from this symbolic universe, combining astrology, Kabbalah, tarot, alchemy, and ceremonial magic into an initiatory map. In Thelema and related currents of modern Western esotericism, Saturnian symbolism can touch Binah, the Great Mother, silence, understanding, and the crossing of inner thresholds. Aleister Crowley did not invent the Black Cube of Saturn, but that world gives us a language for why Saturn marks initiation at the edge of the known self. And this is why superficial conspiracy theories often miss the real power of the symbol. They ask only, who is using the cube? Which building has the cube? Which secret society placed the cube here? Those questions may be interesting, but they are not enough. The deeper question is, why does the cube keep returning to human consciousness? Why do we keep imagining the sacred as a center, a stone, a chamber, a box, a city, a temple, a sealed space? Why does the soul so often meet God not in endless openness, but inside a boundary? If this deeper way of reading symbols makes sense to you, leave a like, because it helps this kind of serious esoteric content reach people who are tired of shallow explanations. The Black Cube of Saturn is powerful because it stands at the crossing point between fear and wisdom. Fear sees the cube and says, "I am trapped in matter." Wisdom sees the cube and says, "Matter is where my spirit learns to become real." Fear sees Saturn and says, "Time is devouring me." Wisdom sees Saturn and says, "Time is initiating me." Fear sees blackness and says, "There is no light here." Wisdom enters the darkness and discovers that the seed of light was hidden inside it all along. This is the secret hidden in the symbol. The cube does not need to be destroyed. It needs to be illuminated from within, because the center of the cube is invisible. You cannot see it from the outside. You have to enter. Maybe that is the point of incarnation. We are born into limitation, into bodies, names, histories, wounds, desires, fears, and time. At first, all of this feels like enclosure, but slowly, through suffering, discipline, love, knowledge, and awakening, the walls begin to reveal their purpose. The cube becomes an altar. The body becomes a temple. Time becomes a teacher. Saturn becomes not the enemy of the soul, but the guardian of its maturity. So is the Black Cube of Saturn a symbol of control. In some contexts, it can be read that way. Is it a symbol of matter, time, and limitation? Absolutely. Is it connected to occult traditions, sacred geometry, planetary magic, and initiatory societies? Yes, through layers of correspondence and interpretation. But is it only dark? No, that is the mistake. The Black Cube of Saturn is dark because it represents the hidden side of existence. Discipline before revelation, death before rebirth, silence before speech, structure before freedom. And when you understand that, the symbol changes. It is no longer just a black cube somewhere outside you. It becomes the unlit chamber inside your own being, the part of you that still feels trapped, the part that still fears time, the part that still resists responsibility, the part waiting to be squared, refined, and turned into a living stone. At the beginning, we asked whether the cube is a prison or a temple, and now the answer is clear. It is both. If consciousness sleeps, the cube is a prison. If consciousness awakens, the cube becomes the temple of initiation. The same walls, the same matter, the same time, the same Saturn, but a different center, and that center is you. If this video helped you see Saturn, the cube, and the material world in a new way, subscribe to the channel and share this with someone who feels there is something deeper behind ancient symbols. And before you leave, watch the playlist appearing on the screen now, because the next symbol may be the missing key that completes this map.